seam line to seam line, like this, and then measure center back length from here to here, okay, and we have 26 inches, what I record in my chart. Then center front length from neck edge. It's here no problem because it's just double folded facing, and I measure from here along center line, and it will be 24 inches, what I record here. But sometimes it can be a little different because sometimes, for example, you have shape like this. And then it can be, I just explain because you can see different point of measurement. In this case, very often we use center front length from highest shoulder point. Then we have to measure from here to the bottom. In this case, because this is impossible, it's here attach bracket, and then our neck continue very centered, and you don't know it's down or a little up. Then more clear measurement is will be like this. Across shoulder, we have to measure from center back at the base of the neck to shoulder tip. And then if we have here original shoulder, a line here, then we have to measure from here to this point and then double this measurement. Or mark here seam allowance and then measure from here to here. It will be absolutely the same measurement. Then I have 15 3/4 of an inch. Then width across shoulder blades or width across back. Then we have to mark from original highest shoulder point 5 inches down, it will be here, and then we measure here or half of this and then double. In my case, for Ann Taylor blouse, because it's a pattern for Ann Taylor blouse, my line 5 inches from highest shoulder point match to my yoke. Then I mark here 15, and then next line, it will be back, width of the back at yoke seam. Then it will be the same measurement, but sometimes yoke can be shorter, or we have blouses like with yoke 4 or 4.5 inches. Then you have to measure at yoke and record this measurement. Then across front, 5 inches down from highest shoulder point. Then it's here front, and I measure 5 inches, but we have half an inch here, our yoke forwarded, yes. Then I mark half an inch, mark 5 inches, and measure from armhole to center of the front. Where is our buttonhole? And I have 13 3/4 of an inch. Then we have to double this measurement. Then neck width, straight from highest shoulder point to highest shoulder point. You make like imagine straight line, and then measure to this line from original highest shoulder point and double this measurement. Or you can mark here seam allowance and measure straight to this point. And I have here measurement, it will be 6 1/4. Then sometimes you can see point of measurement, measure straight from highest shoulder point to highest shoulder point. Sometimes you can see point of measurement like back neck length, and then you have to measure along this line. It will be then different grading. Like if I remember straight, it will be 116, 116, from each side, and length 1/8 grading. But result should be the same. Then what next here? It will be back neck drop. It's another word. You have to know how deep our neck. Then we have to make imagine line from highest shoulder point, and here will be perpendicular line, and measure this distance, or make perpendicular line to center back and measure distance to our line from highest shoulder point. Then it will be depth of the neck. I have 1 inch and 1/8. Then armhole circumference, and through all semester I told you, write down measurements of the armhole on your pattern, on a sloper. Then it's easier manipulate. Then when we have to measure, back armhole from original shoulder. It's here, my yoke match. It will be back armhole, and here will be front armhole, and 1 inch here. And I have my front armhole 9 1/4, back armhole 9 3/4, and I record this measurement here, and total my armhole will be 19 inches. It's everything clear. Mm-hmm. Then bust circumference. We measure 1 inch below base of the armhole. Then, if it will be 1 inch here, I mark here, and I mark here. Then I have to measure perpendicular to this point. And then you can see I here catch portion of the dart. When we stitch, our width will be 1/8 smaller. Then I have 9 1/2 minus 1/8, it will be 9 3/8 on the back, and then I put this measurement here and measure straight to center front. I have 19 5/8, it will be 39 1/4. Then it will be fine. Then sweep along bottom edge. Then we have to measure to center from side seam, or from side seam to center, and then double. It will be 45 inches. Sometimes we have styles which impossible measure, because if you have tie here, then it's impossible measure like this. It doesn't have sense. Then we measure sweep straight and straight here, and then double this. But you have to measure to center front. If you have somewhere like this style with elastic on the back, you can measure, stretch and relax. Then it will be clear. Then what next? With sweep it's clear, mm-hmm. Yes? Then it will be sleeve length. Sleeve length we have to measure from top of the sleeve cap to cuff line. It will be measurement for sleeve. If I measure, it will be along this line. I have 22, 21 and 7/8 right down. And then I measure my cuff. It will be length 2 3/4 and width 9 1/2. And we have to mark like 2 3/4, 9 1/2. Then bicep. Bicep we measure here, from here to here, and we record this measurement. And sometimes you can see point of measurement 1 inch below real bicep. 1 inch and measure. And when we measure garment, we always measure 1 inch below base of the armhole or sleeve gap. It's happened. For our spec, we measure exactly where is our bicep is. Then it will be clear. Then cuff, sleeve placket length, it's very easy because you measure, and width, you measure here. And center back yoke length, it's important. You have to measure exactly here. As I told you, like some blouses, like 3.5, 3 3/4, 4, even 4 3/4, I think, some styles. And shoulder length. Then you measure original shoulder, because when you put your blouse on a table, it's folded and you can see where is your shoulder. Then other detail, what you have to write down here. First of all, the shoulder forwarded 1/2 inch, for example, for this style at the highest shoulder point, and 1 inch at the shoulder tip. Then you mention here. And don't forget on the pattern, mark where is original shoulder line, because if you have to fix something, you have to dancing from this line. Then what else you can add here? Color width, color stand width, color point, pocket size. For example, like length will be 4 3/4 or 5 inches, width 4.5 or 4 3/8 or 4 1/4, depend on your style. It's clear, guys? It will be very useful then if you put here garment measurement.
See the difference.
And you can see what's the difference. I just show how we can measure garment. More detailed, you have to use how measure garment in technical design class, and I think you have to use spec and then different styles. But when you come to class, you will be a little bit with knowledge of this, and then it will be easier. It's our Ann Taylor blouse, as you remember. Then I just close my blouse at the center. And it should be absolutely straight, just flat here. Okay, then we measure center back length, and you have to put a center of the blouse, center back, and I have 25.5. Compare with pattern, it's 1/2 inch shorter, then it's shrunk, and then it's like working process, because we have yoke here. It can happen. Then you can see difference between your pattern and front. Then what you can do, you cannot flip all the time your garment. See what you have to measure here, yoke length, for example. Then you can measure width across shoulder, from shoulder tip to shoulder tip. Then width across back, you can mark half an inch here, and it will be your client here. Then you have to measure absolutely flat. Measure here. Then you can measure sweep, for example, here, straight, like this. Or you can measure this line, and then you can measure this line. And what else? You can measure length of the sleeve. It's very clear here. To cuff, and then cuff, and cuff width, and you can double this measurement. It's clear. Then we have to measure center front here, from base of the neck at the center. And record this measurement. Then bust measurement. I have to measure 1 inch down, and I have to measure 1 inch. It will be here, and then it should be no wrinkle, no anything, and you measure straight to the same point at the opposite side. Okay, just without wrinkle, everything. And I have a little bigger measurement is here. Then other detail you can add, for example, length of the dart or position of the dart from armhole. It's up to you what you like it mark here, and what you think important for your garment. Then what else? What we not armhole. Okay. Then make absolutely flat here, and I pin it my armhole on the front and on the back. Because measure armhole is very complicated. I usually, when I'm working and I measure use different way and then compare this measurement. But make flat this, and here our side seam. Then I measure from side seam. Very careful, a long seam line. Like this, and then my yoke seam here and 1 inch here, it will be 9.5. I measure here. Then is here from 1 inch, it will be 3/8 here. Then here 3/8. Then I can measure a long seam. And make sure you not stretch, just keep shape. It will be like this, a long seam, not stretch, just follow shape. Yes, 9 3/4, maybe a little more. And that's it. Then you add detail like width of the collar stand, collar point, and width of the collar at the center back. It's clear, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I explain with pattern how you can measure if pattern has placket or darts. Just 1 second. I do this here. Its placket should be attached, and it should be cut away. And you have a lot of blouses like this. Then we have to add placket exactly seam to seam here. I add exactly where it should be. Okay, it's clear. And back with dart. This style has dart at the back. Then it doesn't matter at the back neck. If it will be on the shoulder, you have to measure the same. First, you have to close dart, and then measure straight to shoulder. Because if it will be open, it will be much bigger measurement. Doesn't matter if you have here the same, fold and measure. Then, if you have placket like this, then if I put ruler on the center front, yes, then you can see what happened. We have cut away between left and right edge of the front will be 1 inch, because from center, from placket to center, 1/2 inch. Then you can mark in cutter mast. Then cut away neck 1 inch or 1.5 inches or 2 inches, depend on size of the placket. Then if you measure front, then it can be measured like front length from highest shoulder point, and then you have to keep all the way tape parallel to center front. Then if you have to measure with the cross chest, then mark here 5 inches, put ruler where is your center front. I keep ruler at the center, and then I measure 5 inches down from armhole to center line. It's my center line will be here. No, it's here, my center line. Yes. Okay. And then I measure, and it will be to center line 6 3/4 inch, multiply by 2, it will be 13.5. It's clear with this, because a lot of styles with shaped placket, then you have to know. And then if you need measure, I didn't mention here waist, because almost all blouses without waistline. But just in case, if you have to measure waist, then you have to measure waist and skip intake of the dart, not measure. And then measure from center front to center back and multiply by 2. Okay? Any questions to me, guys? Everything clear?
Mm-hmm. For the back yoke measurement, if you don't have a yoke, how should you be measuring that, or just don't measure it?
If you don't have yoke,
Leave it.
Just keep it.
just
Okay.
leave blanket. If you don't have what
Okay.
we
I just
have.
wanted to make sure if you wanted something. Okay.
You can add yoke if you don't have.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted like a
Yes,
specific
you
way
know,
to-
it's all measurement,
Yeah.
but if you don't have, for example, some blouses doesn't have like number 12, I think. it doesn't have cuff,